There has never been a better time than now to come join the Bellisio Foods team. Bellisio has a new contract in place with plenty of awesome perks for their employees. From increased wages, access to the free health clinic, vacation after 6 months, and much more, Bellisio Foods is committed to putting their employees first. For more information or to apply, visit BellisioFoods.com/careers. Take advantage of these great new employee benefits and join the Bellisio team today. Visit BellisioFoods.com/careers to learn more. We at Orange Crush have many things to be thankful for, including everyone who makes Orange Crush a part of their day. To show our thanks, Orange Crush, WKOV, and participating Save-A-Lot locations will be giving away Thanksgiving turkeys to dozens of winners because even though Thanksgiving celebrations still might look different this year, we know Thanksgiving favorites will still be a part of your plan. Visit GJPepsiContest.com/turkey to find out where you can enter to win now through November 18th. No purchase is necessary. See official rules for details.
A 2021 Christmas concert is being planned, however, the men need to increase their numbers. There is still time to become part of this show. Join us at the Marquet Cultural Arts Center in downtown Jackson, Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. See you there. Oh, by the way, be ready to meet new friends and have fun. And, oh yes, bring your smile, you'll need it.
Well, good morning, everybody, and this is Pete Wilson sitting in for Jennifer Ratcliffe, who's not able to be here today, and with me today to help fill the void, we've got a great guest, Dan Morrow, of course, one of the voices of the Jackson Ironmen, and both Dan and I, who are part of the broadcast team for the Ironmen, have some very important news to cover. Not only news about the Jackson Ironmen's big victory on Friday night over Columbus Eastmore, 17-6, as they move ahead in the state playoffs, but also we're going to look forward to the next hurdle for the Ironmen, and it will be a big one. It'll be Friday evening. We'll get into that as soon as we cover a little bit of the news. All right, as far as the news goes, Christmas is closer than you think. We're into the Christmas season now, basically, as we approach Thanksgiving. And some of the information is now coming out about the Christmas celebrations that are taking place in our local communities. And yes, there will be Christmas celebrations in Jackson, Wellston, Oak Hill, and MacArthur. Major Christmas celebrations. A lot of them will be taking place that first Saturday in December, and then some of the ones in MacArthur will take place the second Saturday in December. A lot of details will be announced here in the coming weeks, but we do have some information about the Jackson celebration that is noteworthy. Remember last year, for the first time, there was a fireworks display with the Jackson Christmas celebration on that first Saturday in December. Well, I had a little sit down with Jackson Fire Chief Dave Channel, and guess what? They're going to do it again. It went really well. It was very well received. A lot of people were out for the Christmas parade, and then after the Christmas parade, they were able to watch the fireworks, and that is going to once again be the highlight of this year's Christmas celebration in Jackson. This is a collaboration of the Jackson Firefighters Association, the City of Jackson, the Jackson County Gear Grinders, and Jackson Cultivating Our Future, which is led by Barbie McCatherine. Those groups and the city have all come together to make this happen on the first Saturday in December. It will all take place in the evening. The overall name of the event is going to be Jackson Holiday Light Up 2021. But the big attraction is going to be the fireworks. It's going to take place after the Christmas parade and after the lighting of the community Christmas trees that are going to be all over Manpower Park. And Dan, I know you're here to talk about sports, but that fireworks display. You don't think about having one for Christmas, but it seemed to go over very well in the community.
Now, I have 3 grandchildren, and the fireworks were big, Pete, and it was a fabulous night out there, and outstanding crowds and all, but the guy named Santa Claus was a little bigger draw for mine. And then the fireworks came, and it was an exciting night. It should be a special night again this year. Hope for decent weather, but it is winter. But either way, the show will go on, and that was well received last year. Very nice job by all those people that are sponsoring.
Right, and the reason it was kind of like it was kind of COVID caused, and it ended up being a really good thing for the community because they didn't do the fireworks that July because they're worried about gathering for because of the COVID and like that, and so they basically postponed it till December. Well, it went over so well, and fundraising was successful enough. Especially with a allocation from the city tourism board, that they had enough money to do not only the celebration, the fireworks display last on July 3rd, but also do this one for Christmas. Once again, it's going to be on Saturday evening, December 4th. We had a front page story in the Telegram. We also have it posted on our website and Facebook, but the highlights are a parade that will kick off at 7 o'clock. It'll start in downtown Jackson. The Jackson County Gear Grinders will do it. That parade will make its way out to Manpower Park. At Manpower Park, Barbie McCathern is already in the process of selling Christmas trees to people, individuals, organizations, businesses that want to decorate those trees. You have, I think, until November 21st to get a tree. You're then obligated to decorate it and take it down after the holidays, but last year there were 60-some trees out at the park. This year I think there's room for a little bit more, and so if you want to have a tree again or you want to have a tree for the first time, you need to get a hold of Barbie McCathern through her phone number or Facebook post. That is Cultivating Our Future. Those contacts are also in a story in the Telegram as well. But after they do the tree lighting out there, 20 minutes after the parade is finished, they'll do the tree lighting. 20 minutes after that, they will have the fireworks display. It should be about a 20-minute display. Very nice, probably a $10,000 display is what I'm told. And then after the fireworks, 1 hour after the fireworks is over, Santa Claus will be at the park meeting people at Santa House, so your grandchildren should be happy.
That's pretty exciting.
The Santa House, instead of being stationed at the fire station, will be at the park all during the Christmas season. There will be a schedule for other times to meet Santa throughout the month of December up until that very last week of Christmas. That schedule has not been released quite yet, but Santa will not only be there after the parade, but also during the Christmas season at appointed times. It's usually on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but we'll certainly let you know when we know that. We do know that the Wellston Lions Club Santa Float will be in town for the parade, and it will also be visiting in Jackson, touring the streets on December 19th and 20th. Sunday the 19th and then Monday the 20th. And that is where it goes. It stops at different places and kind of goes through the town. If it sees a bunch of kids standing there, they'll stop and Santa Claus can meet the kids. So that should be very, very nice. There's also, as we said, Christmas celebrations going on in Oak Hill, Wellston, and MacArthur. As we get more details about those, we'll let you know. But we do know that the celebrations in Jackson, or rather in Oak Hill and Wellston, are also on that first Saturday, December the 4th. Also, we want to tell you that in the city of Jackson, at the last council meeting, there was some good news that came out about the city receiving a $500,000 grant. This will be used to fund a sewer line repair project in the area of Mitchell Street and Wood Avenue. Now, underneath the ground, people don't understand this. There's water lines and sewer lines. They age and they need to be replaced, or you're going to have a lot of trouble over time. Some of the oldest sewer lines are in this area here, and Mayor Randy Evans was very happy to announce that at this last council meeting, a $500,000 grant that will not require very much, if any, local money has been awarded. And he made it a special point to thank his staffer, Tracy Plants, who's one of the new employees at the city. She is called the Director of Special Projects. She did a bunch of research that he said had a lot to do with the city qualifying and winning this grant. So congratulations to her and the administration for this grant, because when you do water line, sewer line projects, they are very expensive, and you almost have to have outside funding to help get it done. All right, we have new police officers and newly promoted police officers in the city of Jackson to talk about. The newly promoted police officers are two patrolmen who have been promoted to sergeant. They are Richie Kaiser and Jeremy Witt. And if you're watching on Facebook now on the video, you see their picture up on the screen. If you're looking left to right there, you see Sergeant Brett Hinch, who right now is the interim police chief after the retirement of Alan Potter. Then you have Richie Kaiser, and then you have Jeremy Witt. They had been patrolmen for the city of Jackson for some time. They have been promoted to the mid-level rank of sergeant. Standing there with them, proud to pose, is Jackson Mayor Randy Evans. Also, there is a new patrol officer in Jackson, and she is a woman. That is Christina Thompson. She comes from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, and this is a couple weeks ago when Mayor Evans sworn her into office. If you're watching there on the screen, I believe this was done before one of the recent council meetings. Once again, new patrolman Christina Thompson, so congratulations to her. We also want to congratulate two of Jackson High School's outstanding athletes who have been nominated for what is called the Heisman High School Scholarship. Heisman is the name that is used to award the top college football player. It is also the moniker used by the Heisman High School Scholarship Association to honor top high school athletes who are also outstanding in the community and academic. And Dan, I know you know both of these athletes. We know them well. People at the high school certainly know them well. Grant Maston, there on the left, Olivia Kennedy on the right. They are nominees, semifinalists for the National High School Heisman Award. Maston, of course, a linebacker for the Jackson Ironmen, so he's very much in the news for that. And Olivia Kennedy went to the state track meet this year, qualified for the regional cross-country meet just a few weeks ago.
Well, two special kids. So obviously, whoever the nominating committee is, they knew what they were doing. You don't get any two better than those two up there. We had Olivia on the radio at one of our halftimes not too long ago at a football game. She's so fun to talk to. Grant Maston's one of the finest young men I have ever talked to. When you see him out on the street in Jackson, you'll think you're talking to an adult, and a very intelligent one. To beat that, he's just a gentleman and a scholar, and obviously these two, they couldn't have picked two better. I mean, we have so many special young people at the high school, but those are two of the best.
Right, and that is a great honor.
And Mr. Heisman from many, many years ago would have to be very proud of his name being associated not only with the yearly award that Archie Griffin won twice, and we talked about that last week, but the fact that all these young people get that kind of award and that kind of that kind of credit. What a resume builder for those two.
Well, it is.
That's special.
It's a nice award. And remember, it isn't just about sports. It isn't just about...
those two aren't on there all for sports.
No, it
They
isn't.
do everything in the community. They're
about
involved in everything.
Community involvement and, of course, the academics and so forth. And we've had Olivia Kennedy on the radio, of course, on one of our football broadcasts, just an outstanding young lady. And they are great role models, too, because not only have they succeeded, and that's a good example for their peers, but they have succeeded because they work very hard.
And I say, and then we had Grant. We talk about him every Friday night. What a gentleman he is out on the street, but he takes a little different persona when he gets on that football field. He was so aggressive Friday night, and we were playing a bigger, maybe a little stronger football team than us, and he really played so hard at his linebacker position, but then came in as a fullback, especially late in the game, and kind of wore him down with his lead blocking. He was outstanding, but that's what he does on Friday nights. He does so much more.
Right, exactly. All right, well, we want to give you very important updates. We talked about this last weekend, and this has been in the paper too, and this information is posted and printed and on our website as well. But remember, last week the CDC gave the go-ahead, and then came through the state as well, that a vaccine that Pfizer has produced has been approved for immunizations for 5 to 11-year-olds. This was one of the gaps where there wasn't immunizations. And remember, there has been quite a few COVID cases reported with very young people, including in that ages 5 to 11 bracket. Well, the Jackson County Health Department has jumped in there and set up clinics at each of the elementary schools for ages 5 to 11 and any adults that want to come into for any vaccine that they may want to take that they're due. But the spotlight, this is the first opportunity for the kids. And there will be a first dose clinic tonight at Bundy Elementary School in Wellston from 4 to 7 p.m. Tonight, Monday, November the 8th. Tomorrow, the health department will be at the Oak Hill Elementary School for the same first dose clinic for ages 5 to 11. That's Tuesday, November 9th. Then we'll skip Wednesday. Then on Thursday, November 11th, Veterans Day evening, 4 to 7 p.m., there will be a clinic at Northview Elementary in Jackson. And then back to next week, Westview Elementary on Monday the 15th, and then Southview Elementary on Tuesday the 16th. Those clinics are all 4 to 7 p.m. And once again, this will give students in any school, you don't have to be at that school, a student in that school to go to that particular clinic. They're just trying to make it as convenient as possible, the health department is, 4 to 7 p.m. for that first dose Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. However, this is a walk-in. These are walk-in clinics that are open to anybody. If you haven't had a COVID shot at all and you're an adult any age, you can go get one. If you're looking to get the Pfizer booster shot, Moderna booster shot, you can do that at any of these clinics. And you can also even get a flu shot at these clinics.
Just got my Pfizer booster last week.
Okay, and you lived to tell about it, right?
I lived to tell about it and feel very good about it.
All right, well, I'm scheduled for Tuesday.
There you go.
So, the opportunities are certainly there, and there are, I think, 7 locations in Jackson County and 3 in Vinton County where you can get the COVID-19 vaccines, and we're going to be posting that information on our website and on Facebook, and also in our paper on Wednesday to remind people there have always been these opportunities there, but they change a little bit, the availability, and we will update that information. It isn't just the health department clinics, but also other vendors as well that are giving these COVID-19 vaccines. Now, we didn't mention St. Peter and Paul School and Christian Life Academy. The student populations at those buildings are not as high, and so public health nurses will go into those schools and handle the vaccines for any parents and or students who want to get shots at those locations. All right, tonight, Jackson City Council will have its regular meeting. That will be at 7 p.m., but prior to that, there will be an important public hearing that the council will have. It's set for 6:30 p.m. This is at the City Council Chambers on Portsmouth Street, right there in the same building with the police department. The Jackson City Council will hold a public hearing to discuss the application for rezoning at 265 Pearl Street. That is a vacant lot behind the PNC Bank. That is where Buckeye Community Services wants to build a new group home to replace the group home that's at 6 West South Street. So far, the Zoning Board of Appeals approved a variance to that, and the Planning Commission approved rezoning. However, the Jackson City Council, part of the zoning law is that a public hearing is being held to allow public comment, and then council also has to approve the rezoning. That is expected to happen tonight, but if the public wants to weigh in pro or con, they will have that one last chance tonight. All right, Veterans Day is Thursday, and there's lots of activities coming your way there. As a matter of fact, they kicked off last Saturday in the village of Hamden. Big Veterans Day parade there. Our Red Thompson was there. It was a cool but sunny day. That is the Puritan Freewell Baptist Church, who had a very nice float in the parade, had pictures of some of the local veterans and lots of flags, of course, on their float. Also, the Grand Marshal was Henry Elwood Doles, who is a World War II veteran, and there was another World War II veteran in the parade as well, but Mr. Doles had the honor of being the Grand Marshal. There was also a Vietnam veteran, Donnie Warwicks, who was featured in the parade. After the parade, one of the Girl Scout groups there had a chicken noodle dinner as well. So it was a nice day in the village of Hamden. The fire department, they put this on there, and that is Elwood Doles there, if you're looking on Facebook, riding in a 1931 vintage vehicle. So a nice day in Hamden, saluting the veterans. Thank you to the Hamden Fire Department for doing that. They just did it to put the veterans in the spotlight. Not a fundraiser at all, just a community service. Veterans Day programs are set in both Jackson County and Vinton County on Thursday. The Veterans Day program, which is coordinated by the Jackson County Veterans Service Office, will be held at 11 a.m. at Veterans Memorial Park. That's at the corner of Portsmouth and Main Streets in downtown Jackson. Veterans Service Officer Arnold Tripp, who I believe will be here Thursday to talk about that program and other Veterans Day type issues and information. He has put together this program. The guest speaker will be Anthony Brenner. Anthony, that name's familiar particularly to folks in the Wellston area. He is the city service director, but he has a military background. He is a veteran. He will be the guest speaker. The Jackson High School Marching Band will be there. That always is a big attraction. They will do a series of patriotic songs, including the Star Spangled Banner. And all that will be 11 a.m. on Saturday, or on this Thursday, which is Veterans Day. Also on Thursday, at the Vinton County Courthouse, the Vinton County Veterans Service Office will conduct their Veterans Day program. It will also be at 11 a.m. It will be right in front of the courthouse on the courthouse steps. They will be ringing the Vinton County Centennial Bell, and that bell will be rung in honor of all the deceased veterans. And one of the neat things they do there is that once the ceremony or once the program is over, any person can come up and ring the bell in honor of a deceased veteran or a living veteran, just a way to honor them. That is the Vinton County Centennial Bell. Tim Reed has been putting that program together. He is the Veteran Service Officer in Vinton County. Our good friend, Vinton County Probate Juvenile Judge Robert Bob Grillo, who, by the way, just turned 65 years old, he will be the MC of that program, and he will read the list of all the Vinton County servicemen who have died in wars over the years. He tells me that, even though he does it every year, he has trouble getting through it, reading those names without getting emotional. So that will be 11 a.m. The VFW Honor Guard will be involved as well in that program.
You know, Pete, and you mentioned veterans. For a few moments every Friday night, it is Veterans Day at Alumni Stadium on a home game. Our marching band, which we're also proud of, they're just truly outstanding, Mr. Hurd and his group there. But right before the game, right before the Star Spangled Banner, they pick one of the armed services and play their theme song, whether it's the Marines or the Air Force or whatever, and that particular veteran is supposed to stand up and be honored. And I just think that's such a neat, classy tradition that we now just expect, and they rotate it every week, and it's either Air Force, I think it was Air Force last Friday night, but just a neat little touch for our veterans that we have to be so proud of.
Well, those service songs, those service anthems, or those theme
they
songs,
get to you a little bit, don't they?
They're rousers.
Yes,
they
all
are. Of them. The
Yes,
Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Coast Guard, and that is a nice program. And that medley, by the way, is often played at the Veterans Day program here in Jackson on Thursday. I would not doubt that Ryan Hurd will have his group playing that.
Yep.
Pre-Veterans Day, on the evening before, Wednesday, November 10th, we talked about this on TV. We had Larry Zorns, a local Marine here, talking about it. The 246th Marine Corps birthday will be celebrated locally on Wednesday evening, November the 10th, with a dinner. All Marines, past and present, their families and corpsmen are invited guests to this free dinner at the DAV in Jackson. That's at 170 Pearl Street. It will take place at 5:30 p.m. Now, if you do want to go, and you are invited if you're in that category of being a Marine, past, present, and along with the family members and their invited guests, you are asked to RSVP no later than today so they can plan for how many will be there. This will be a catered meal that they will be providing. Masks may be worn at the visitors' discretions. Any World War II veterans of any service are also encouraged to attend as special guests. And if you do want to register for this by RSVP, you can call the Jackson County Veterans Service Office. Remember, you need to do that today. That number is 740-286-3004. The Wellston Lions Club is going to do a nice thing for Veterans Day, too. You know, they have their veal and fish booth that they do throughout the year as a fundraiser, not just during the festivals, but they are going to be out selling combo meals this Thursday, Veterans Day. And if you are a veteran, past or present, you can get a free combo meal from the Wellston Lions Club from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And That will be, all you have to do is have the proper ID to show that you are a veteran or an active military person, and that meal will include a fish sandwich, fries, and a drink. And so they will even do curbside delivery for you as well, or deliver. You just need to call ahead at 740-418-5335. That's 740-418-5335. Once again, a service of the Wellston Lions Club honoring veterans. A free combo meal on Thursday. The veterans, or rather the Wellston Lions Club vending booth will be in front of the Wellston Dollar Tree just off Pennsylvania Avenue across the street from Giovanni's Pizza. Also, the Wellston Senior Citizens will have a Veterans Day celebration on Thursday. The Senior Citizens is located at 407 South New York Avenue. The event will begin at 10:45 a.m. It is open to all veterans. A complimentary lunch will be served. You can eat free there as well. That is at the Wellston Senior Citizen Center on New York Avenue. Now, a couple things that happened over the weekend worth talking about. The Wellston Golden Rocket Marching Band competed for the 16th straight year in the Ohio Music Education Association State Finals. The Wellston Band Program is a competition band program. That means that they go to competitions during the year. They're adjudicated. They racked up enough points at local and area competitions to qualify for the state finals. That meant that yesterday they were at Welcome Stadium in Dayton, performing before a regional and statewide audience. They received an excellent rating, so congratulations to the Wellston Golden Rocket Marching Band. You can see their picture there as they posed after one of their rehearsals, and also their first-year director, Emily Talley. All right, also this weekend, congratulations to the Apple City Players and the cast of A Christmas Carol, a comedy, the Farndale Christmas Carol comedy. And this is a big picture that has in the back is the cast of A Christmas Carol, a comedy, but with them are members of the Jackson High School Drama Club who obviously dropped in, and I think they had the chance to see one of the performances earlier this week, or at least one of the rehearsals. And one of the reasons that the Apple City Players does these plays is not only as a community service and to generate interest in the dramatic arts, but also to encourage these young people to continue to perform at the high school level, and then they can get involved as adults in the Apple City Players program. Last weekend, the Christmas Carol comedy was performed at the Marquette Cultural Arts Center. Performances on Friday and Saturday evening, also Sunday afternoon. It was a real hoot, very hilarious. Congratulations to everybody in the cast. And the Apple City Players want to thank everybody who supported the play, whether they were a participant, an attendee, a volunteer, or a sponsor. They thank the community for that support. Speaking of the Jackson High School Drama Play, they've got their fall play coming up. Big news on that. It's going to be Alice in Wonderland. That is a classic story. This is kind of like a different version of it that includes not only Alice in the Wonderland, but also some of the content from Through the Looking Glass, which is related to Alice in Wonderland. But Kathy Lord always does a great job with the plays. It's going to be November 19th, 20th, and 21st. Not this coming weekend, but the next weekend, and it will be at Jackson Middle School. 60 kids are involved in this. It's a big production, not a musical, but it's the fall play. The musical is usually in the spring. But Alice in Wonderland, classic story, it should generate a lot of interest, but the big news, not just that they're having the play, it is open to the public. It is not limited tickets just for parents or whatever. There are a limited number of tickets that can be sold, but you'll get a chance to buy them. You can buy them online through the school website starting today. Now, if the Jackson Ironmen are successful and they win on Friday night, and we hope they do, the Friday night performance on the 19th will be moved to Saturday afternoon. They will go Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and Sunday afternoon instead of Friday evening, Saturday evening, and Sunday afternoon. So we'll be talking a lot more about the play here on the radio, on the TV, and of course printed in the paper as well. But those performances coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend. All right, the Apple City Motorcycle Club and our good friend Brian Jarvis did a great job with the chili cook-off this weekend, and once again, this was to help veterans. All the money they raised will be used to help their program to support veterans, and one of the things they do is They give a Christmas gift to every veteran in every nursing home in Jackson County. Very nice gesture. These are the 3 winners of the chili cook-off. From left to right are Robin Miller, first place. Second place is Keith Fott. He is a member of the Apple City Motorcycle Club. And winning in third place was Janelle Scott. They had this at the Apple City Motorcycle Clubhouse out on Clubhouse Road near Jackson on Saturday. Had a nice crowd. A lot of people cooked the chili. A lot of people ate the chili, raising money through a very good cause. And Dan, I know you talked Saturday with Brandon Oliver, the coach of the wrestling program. They're going to have a chili cook-off as well. What can you tell us about that?
Well, we talked to Brandon, and wrestling is kicking up just as basketball is, as we're still have Jackson football going on, but most fall sports are over, so the next set of sports in the winter will start up. But Brandon came in to talk about the wrestling program. He had a youth camp last week, had I think 70 little wrestlers in there in the field house wrestling, but he did want to give a little pub for the chili cook-off, and that's the main fundraiser for the wrestling program, and that will be a week from Sunday at the where did he say that?
Park's Edge.
Park's Edge is where they're going to hold that. And it's always a big event. They have some auctions going on in there, but it is a chili cook-off, and it's, I forget exactly what it is, but you can register your chili in there, and everybody can come in. You can just eat, I think, for $7. You get all that options. You can probably eat all afternoon on that $7 entry on there, and I think it's $10 to put one of the chilies into the contest. But that should be no more than anything a fun day and a way to kick off wrestling season. So Coach Oliver and his wrestling program, they need you. Be involved in that. These, we'll talk about another one here coming up too for basketball. They don't want to nickel and dime you every single time they see you on a street corner or every time you come in a ball game or whatever. If you support these major fundraisers, it helps support the program all the way through, and our kids are the main benefits from it. So if you can break away on that Sunday afternoon, come to the chili cook-off down at the Park's Edge, I guarantee you'll have a fun day, no doubt about that. And Coach Oliver's an interesting gentleman anyway, and he's just so fun to be around and talking to him.
Very intense and dedicated to this program. And
yes, he is.
Dan, chili is kind of like meatloaf. No two are exactly the same.
Not the same, but they're all good.
Right, and some of it, hot chili, it can burn you out, and everybody has their own style. And so it's kind of fun to sample the different chilies and also help, in this case, the wrestling program. And then on Saturday, the Apple City Motorcycle Club and the veterans. So the chili cook-off is a good fundraising idea.
You could actually probably do the chili cook-off that day and then go to the play that night.
If
you're not too heated up from the chili cook-off.
That's
that
right.
would be a big day.
Exactly. Speaking of fundraising and the need for our sports programs to kind of help support themselves, it's a reality. The Support Our Soccer had a big vendor craft fair down at the field house last Saturday. And it was a big success. I talked to Jenny Ball, who is the chairman of that event. She's the vice president of SOS, that's Support Our Soccer. They had like 70 vendors there selling different things, a lot of craft items on sale as well. They had food service there. And all this money that they gained from this vendor craft fair will go to help pay expenses in the soccer program that the athletic program itself can't quite pay for, because it's expensive, all these sports are, and the athletic program is a good one, but they need the support of the support clubs, and then by extension the public when they have these special fundraising events. Actually, there's 75 vendors at the craft fair. I read my notes there, but that money will go towards, according to Jenny, new uniforms, soccer bags, socks, equipment, help pay for referees, also help support the middle school as well as the high school program. She said it was a fantastic event, and she wanted, through the media, to thank everybody for all their support. It went very well. That was last Saturday. All right, we have to give a salute to the Wilkesville First Presbyterian Church. This is hard to believe. Vinton County, Dan, has been around since 1850. This church, which is in Vinton County, has been around since 1821.
Wow.
They didn't build a building until 1828, but they met as a church, I guess maybe in people's homes or whatever, starting in 1821. So this was the 200th anniversary of the First Presbyterian Church of Wilkesville. They had a celebration last month, and we just wanted to acknowledge that on our television. And of course, you saw the video or heard the video on the D.M. Davis Men's Choir. They're going to have a Christmas concert next month. But in the meantime, Wilbur McCormick is out there hustling, looking for new members. They lost some members during the period of COVID for different reasons. And even though they have a great sound, they need some more voices, particularly baritones. So if you're out there and you're a singer, particularly a baritone, this is a great community service, and it's great fun to be involved in the choir. They have some great events, very, very good concerts, some very professional people. Wilbur and others direct them. There's a men's choir, there's a women's choir, and they do some songs together as well. I understand the women's choir is very strong right now as far as numbers. No need to recruit members there, but I know they're always willing to accept possible new members. Now, if you want to maybe at least come and see a rehearsal and consider becoming a member or see what it's all about, you just need to come to a weekly rehearsal. They have them each Tuesday evening from 7 to 9 at the Marquet Cultural Arts Center. The city of Wellston wants to remind everybody they're doing fire hydrant testing throughout the whole month. This means that when you turn on the water, if you see a little water discoloration, don't freak out. It's just because they're cleaning out the water lines. Just let the water run until it runs clear, but you do need to be careful when you turn on the water. Make sure you let it run clear before you use any water for laundry or cooking. All right, well, let's go to the weather here before we go to sports. And our weather, there you see it. If you're watching on TV, you can see we've got a decent week coming up. Today, it's supposed to get up to 65 degrees, and then as we go on in the week, even a little warmer, 67 on Tuesday, 65 on Wednesday, up to all the way on 69, 1 degree away from 70 on Thursday, and then a little cooler on Friday, 59 degrees. Of course, the overnights are going to be cold, but it looks like we might have a couple nights here coming up Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday where we won't hit freezing temperatures. That'll be good. And Dan, as we look ahead to football Friday night,
everybody had to look right toward Friday that is a Jackson Ironmen football fan.
Right, 59 degrees high expected, 37 degrees in the evening. The graphic has a sun, but it's got a rain cloud in front, so I don't know.
Well, and it has 70%. Now, my menial math skills do tell me there's a chance for rain then.
Right, 70% chance of rain, and why is this important? We'll get into that a little bit. There's the Jackson Ironmen like to pass, but our opponent likes to pass even more.
We thought we liked to pass.
Right, so we will talk about that in just a minute, but that is the weather. We will now go to sports. That is the main reason why my buddy Dan Morrow was willing to come and talk to us, because nobody knows more about Jackson High School sports and football in particular than Dan, a former player, former coach, and a broadcaster now on our broadcasting team since 1984. Is that right?
Yep, 84.
84.
Oh, look at that threesome.
Oh, my gosh.
That was Friday night.
James Hamilton slipped that in. There
Yes,
we
he
are
did.
in our all red before we did the broadcast, and we are just so happy to do the broadcast. We are all Jackson High School graduates. We call them as we see them, but I'm not too proud to say that I'm going to root for the Ironmen every time. And they are giving us a great show this year. The team comes into the game on Friday with a 10-2 record, one of the best records in school history, and on one of the toughest schedules, I think, in school history.
One of the very toughest, yes.
And that is one of the reasons maybe why they're where they are now. They were steeled for the postseason by particularly their pre-conference schedule. And there are the Ironmen coming onto the field through the helmet and the smoke. Big event at Alumni Stadium. But Dan, let's talk first about the game last Friday night. That was a Division III, Region 11 quarterfinal game. Of course, the tournament was expanded to 16 teams in each region. That gave more teams a chance, but it also means you have to win more games to move along. And Jackson has now won twice. A Jackson team has never won 3 games in the state playoffs before, so we're on new ground. Jackson has never won a regional championship. They're at least another win away from getting that chance. But last Friday, let's not get ahead of ourselves, we had a tough assignment in Columbus Eastmore, a team with a great reputation, a great pedigree in the City League for football. And we knew that it was going to be a tougher assignment this time around than it was when we beat Columbus South the preceding Friday. and it turned out to be Jackson 17, Eastmore 6. Did the way the game went surprise you at all?
Yes, a little bit. I thought, well, scoring nowadays, when you see a score of 17-6, that doesn't happen very often in high school sports, high school football. It certainly doesn't happen on the college level and the pro level. There's just so much more offense in today's games than there used to be. But this was old school, just fight it out in the trenches type game. Neither team had a lot of success moving the football up and down the field. The defenses were dominant. Eastmore was better than the number 7 seed that they came in at in our region. And they were the City League champions. They had beaten Columbus South by 3 touchdowns. We obviously beat them 37-0 the week before. So feeling going in, we had an opportunity to win that game. We did take care of business. We were the better football team out on the field that night, but it was not over till late into the contest. Eastmore fought us very hard. They were bigger than us, maybe a little stronger than us, had maybe a little more overall speed. I think we had an overall better team, and we had the ability to throw the football and rush the football. Eastmore was a little more one-dimensional. Once again, our defense stepped up last Friday night. We had held the previous 2 teams, and one was a Frontier Athletic Championship game, and the other was a playoff game, to under 100 total yards. That's
and
your
no points.
Category. No points, back-to-back shutouts. Well, Eastmore did score 6 points on a Hail Mary kind of bomb from, it was a 49-yard touchdown, 49-yard touchdown, thrown about 55 yards in the air, and we were probably about 2 inches away from deflecting that pass away, but they executed it, they caught it, they scored 6 points. But for one of the few times this year, Jackson found themselves all of a sudden down 6-3 in a football game. We hadn't been behind very many times this year. Obviously, we'd lost twice. We were behind in those games, but most other games, the Ironmen have always held a lead. But we bounced back, fought hard, had a 10-6 lead at halftime. But that second half, it was just a battle, and there was just very hard to be successful. We came up with a late touchdown to give us a little bit of breathing room to win 17-6. But Eastmore was a very solid football team, very skilled and pretty well coached. I thought that was a good win. And you mentioned the difficulty of our preseason schedule. We played in there Ironton, who's one of the very best, Wheelersburg, one of the very best. We played Tri-Valley, who was also a highly rated team in the playoffs. We had a very tough preseason schedule, so maybe that's a game we don't win some years. But our kids are pretty seasoned. They've played good competition, and they obviously weren't intimidated by Eastmore. And it was a physical battle that, once again, we held Eastmore. And I'll look at it here. And this is how you win football games, because the old idea of how to win a football game from old school is you stop the run and you were able to run the ball a little bit successfully. We held Eastmore to 29 yards rushing. And
that's what they want to do.
And that's what they'd want to do. They didn't want to throw it. Now, they threw for 95 yards, but we held them to a total of 124 total yards. It's not many yards offensively. They really didn't threaten to score except for that one long bomb pass. But so the defense basically controlled the game for us, and offense did what they had to do, put enough points on the board to win. We threw for 2 touchdowns, great passes, obviously, from Jacob Winters, who's our quarterback, and he's probably thrown for maybe record number of touchdown passes this season, and we can get into that a little bit later on. But good catches from Jake Wood, and then one of the more acrobatic catches we've seen all year long from Tristan Prater that kind of sealed the game to give us that 17th point.
That's a picture of it on the screen.
You know, and you know who the star of this show is. I mean, your news was outstanding, but James is the star of this show. He's in the background back there. Whenever you have a question there, he just has the picture up there. But folks, Tristan went high up in the air, caught this ball about the 3-yard line, and had the presence of mind then to jump, twist his body, contort it, and somehow get the ball to touch the pylon, which makes it a touchdown. One of the great, and Tristan Prater's had a lot of great catches for the Jackson Ironmen through the years. There's a little bit of emotion he's showing. He's as excited as anybody. But that was one of the very better ones that we've seen, and that was very special. And that did seal victory in a good home crowd. Cold night. That second half, if you were in the stands, you were cold. And if you weren't, tell me different. But very chilly night, but we brought a good crowd on hand. And this week, it seemed like our crowd was a factor. We forced Eastmore at least to take 2 timeouts on third downs because the crowd was just loud. I don't think they could hear themselves, and that was pretty neat to hear. Alumni Stadium really getting involved in the game and becoming a factor, being part of a home field advantage. Our kids fought very hard to get us to play 2 home games at Alumni Stadium. That was because we were the number 2 seed in the whole region, and we got that honor, and our crowd kind of picked it up from that point on. And I know they had a lot in the community to try to get more people into the crowds. They got more kids there this week. They had a food drive. If they brought food to school, there were some boosters and donors and whatever that were able to then buy, I think, about 220 tickets for kids to actually get in, and those are $10 tickets. So it was nice to have some of our students there cheering them on, and the adults making a lot of noise, stomping on those bleachers and hitting those cowbells, and it was just a fun atmosphere.
Right, and of course, I think Coach Andy Hall and the Sideliners Club were kind of like the instigators of that buy a ticket for a kid thing, and the kids, to be able to do that, had to donate a couple cans for a food drive. And at a very important time of the year, heading into Thanksgiving and Christmas, the Jackson Food Program, better known as the Jackson Food Pantry, I'm sure that they may be one of the beneficiaries of the food that was gathered.
True win-win.
As the payment for these free tickets that the adults made possible through their financial donations. And I know Coach Hall was so pleased that people stepped up to support that. So
that was Coach Hall on there. We get the honor to interview him in the post game. It was his idea. Excuse my phone there, folks.
You're in
Turn
demand.
that thing off. Yes, but that was Coach Hall. It's Dan Dobbins and myself getting the honor to talk to him in the post game. We do have to steal your headset. If we had 4, we'd have you in there too. But it's great to listen to him talk. But it was the week before, after Columbus South, he said, we got to do something to get more kids into these games, and they did, and they stepped up, and I think it was a home field advantage, and it was a win-win for everybody on there. But as we're talking about Coach Hall, real quick, that was Coach Hall, and I've got it here. That was our 10th playoff win in the history of Jackson High School football, which is very unique. Double-figure wins in the playoffs is hard to come by. Not many schools can say that. We can. We've played 25 playoff games. And we love to say the fact that we've gotten to broadcast all 25 of them. That's one of our highlights for doing what we do. Is that
why we have gray hair?
I think it is.
Okay.
It is. And, well, they started way back in 1996. Well, that doesn't seem so long ago for us because we can go way back before that. But that's when the playoffs started. And 25 games later, from 1996 till right now, we've got to broadcast all of them. We've won 10 times of the 25 games. We are now, Coach Hall has now won 7 times himself. Mm-hmm. And that's just outstanding, and he's 7-8 in his career here with playoff wins, and the Ironmen are 10-15 overall, and it's just part of that Jackson tradition. And you say 15 losses. Well, if you've been in the playoffs 16 times, you've had to have 15 losses unless you've been state champions. We've never done that. We've never won a regional championship, but as you mentioned a little bit ago, this team, sets their sights on a win this week, and then they can be thinking in a regional championship game for the 3rd time in school history. We've been there twice. We've lost those 2 times, but who knows? This team, and if this team, I think they just have an air about them. They
have a little bit of a quality about them. The intangibles, the leadership, the senior leadership. There's lots of talented underclassmen on this team, but a strong core of seniors. And like
Good
I say,
leadership.
They've been through some adversity, some 2 tough scrimmages, as well as those pre-conference games you talked about, and then Evan Spires, who was the main quarterback the first part of the season, co-captain, outside linebacker, one of the very best players. You lose him for the season in Game 5 against Wheelersburg.
After you're 2-2 at that time.
Right. I mean, that could certainly have an adverse effect mentally and physically on you, but it just seemed to make the Ironmen more determined.
Well, I'll say about Evan Spires, a special young man. We were talking about the Heisman nominations. He could easily be up there. He's that kind of quality of person. He has been there every single step of the way with this team, even though he can't participate anymore this year, and been a leader. He's a leader out there, and his seniors, the whole team, I think, just whatever Evan says, they listen. He's just a quality person, and so I think him being such a part of it has been a good thing. I wish he could have been out there with the helmet on, but he's been there with helmet off and being a big factor in this team.
Right, and if you, once again, to make it clear, if you're not adding things up or deducing this, if you win a regional championship, you are in the state tournament.
The state semifinals.
That
yes.
has never happened.
Never happened.
That would be, it's like the Final Four for basketball.
And this team individually, for the 10th time in the history of Jackson football, which goes all the way back to 1917, folks. We got some history in Jackson football. For the 10th time, we've won 10 games. It's not every year a football team here wins 10 games, but we have done it now for the 10th time. And this week, if we can beat Western Brown, we would become the 5th team to ever win 11 games. And then another win. No team ever has won 12 for Jackson, as you mentioned.
No,
so
that's
we're
right.
getting in uncharted waters here. They're getting in a very elite crowd. And this football team, I'm sure, I know they are excited. They first were excited to win the second game in the playoffs. They were excited that their opponent they're going to get to play is Western Brown, who they had lost a heartbreaker way back early in the season. And we were there broadcasting that. We remember it very well. It's a special team. But they felt they maybe left a little something there that night that they could have taken care of business and got a win out of, so they get a rebound shot. And
right. No,
I think they're very excited. The players, the coaches, everybody is excited to see what they can do against this Western Brown offensive juggernaut.
Well, that is part of the drama, the rematch, and just winding the tape back. The Ironmen, the 4th week of the season, went to Mount Orab down the Appalachian Highway, about an hour and a half's drive. Ironmen ended up losing that game. At that time, after they lost, they were 2-2, Dan. They have not lost since, but they lost to Western Brown 33-28 in a game that went almost down to the wire. But in that game, Jackson had 4 turnovers. 3 of them, at least, were in Western Brown territory, which means they're in on the scoring end of the
red
field.
zone. We call them in the end zone. They were 2. I think 2 were red zone turnovers.
Right, and
we were on the verge of scoring and turned it over.
Right,
and that was painful.
And when you're playing a team like Western Brown that can score a lot of points, and they do score a lot of points. As a matter of fact, 33 is a lot of points. That's the lowest total they had all year.
All year.
And I think the Jackson offense, because of the turnovers, feels they can do better than the 28 points that they did down there. The turnovers, robbing you of opportunities to score. And remember, one more touchdown might have won that game. However, we have to give the devil his due, and Drew Novak is special. Western Brown, I think we agreed on the way home, because of the Jackson mistakes, Western Brown, the better team, won that night. Western Brown, Drew Novak, junior quarterback, about 6'5", 190 pounds. I would not doubt that he's going to be the Division I player or Division III player of the year in the state. His numbers will merit consideration, at least
Nationally.
Right.
Nationally, his passing numbers are way up there. It's one of the great passing seasons ever in Ohio history, but it's all over high school history.
The last numbers I saw were, I don't know whether they're official, but I saw them posted, 4,400 passing yards, 57 touchdowns. 50 touchdowns.
50 touchdowns.
Okay. That's a lot, though.
Oh.
4,400 yards. Has run for just under 1,000 yards. He is a threat to run.
Run for 17 touchdowns.
And run for 17.
So he's accounted for 67 touchdowns for Western Brown. Far and away their leading rusher, but his throwing and just off the top, he's completed 286 passes this year. He's thrown it 419 times for right at it's 45. It's 4,583 yards. Unbelievable numbers. That is hard to fathom. I mean, he's just under 400 yards per game every time he throws it.
Well, I will say this. When I went down there, and I'd seen Novak as a freshman, I believe,
just a little bit. He and Jacob Winters were both freshmen and both got in the game their freshman year. And I remember we were there that day, and everybody says, "Wow, these two got a chance."
Right, and
these two got a chance to be pretty good.
The game was canceled in 2020 because of COVID. They didn't play the non-league game, so we didn't see him then. But in 2021, when we were riding down there, Dan, I thought I knew how good he was supposed to be, but I knew how good the Jackson defense is, and I says, no kid's going to go up and down the field or pass for a lot of yards against us. We will slow him down. Relatively speaking, maybe we did, but he had 410 passing yards, which I didn't think would be possible against our defense. I don't know how many yards he ran for. He didn't run for 100, but he ran for some yards as well.
They don't run the football. They
Not much.
very seldom. There's a Zachary Chrisman. He has run it 82 times this year for around 300 yards, 9 touchdowns. He's the only other one that runs it, and it's very seldom. It's usually shotgun formation. Drew Novak in the shotgun reads the defense, and he's either knows where he's going to go pretty quickly after the snap with the pass, and they utilize a lot of short passes, and they really hurt you then because all their receivers are very capable. They can run after the catch. But if he doesn't, it's a quarterback keeper, and he will read the seam with the pass rush, has very good composure back there, and at 6'6", we were so many times we had him 3rd and 2. They line up in a shotgun formation, but he would somehow find a way to gain 2.5 yards.
He was most likely to run on 3rd and 2 or 3, and you wouldn't think that. He's deep in the shotgun. He's all the way back there. But he seemed to always be able to find the seam. And also, you're thinking he's going to pass, and so you're maybe being careful on the rush. But the thing that was so good about him, first of all, a lot of timing plays. He'll get rid of the ball quick. His receivers don't seem to drop the ball. They didn't against us.
No.
And when he runs the ball, somehow, even though he's slender, he runs hard and he falls forward with that 6'6" frame. How many times did he get one more yard than was necessary on 3rd and short?
Kept the ball
Jackson
in their hands. We just couldn't quite get the ball out of their hands. Did a fabulous job. And one of the neat things, and it's a neat storyline too, he's throwing the ball to his brother. They're not twins. He's 1 year older than him. He's a senior. But his brother's one of the top receivers. He is the top receiver on the team as far as total yards. He hasn't caught as many touchdowns as some of the other players. But his brother is it's Dylan Novak, and he has caught for over 1,153 yards. So as we joked about it on our previous broadcast, that's just those two in the backyard playing pass, pitching and catching to each other. They've been doing that probably since they were 5 years old. So there is a bit of a feeling they know where each other is going to be and what's going to happen. But they also have 3 other receivers that have over 10 touchdown receptions apiece. They have 5 total receivers with over 579 yards, which would be the leading receiver on our team as far as total yards. But that's what they do. They live and die by the pass. They're not going to try to run you, especially run the football from a running back or fullback type situation. The quarterback will either run it or the quarterback's going to pass it to one of these outstanding receivers, and they've been really good at it this year.
Right, and the yardage, the scoring average, just one of the games they lost to, Dan, this year was to a team called Monroe, and they lost 66-58.
Well, and the other one was Clinton Massey, who just beat a very good Waverly team soundly in the playoffs. They're good every year. And so they've only lost to Powers, which very similar to us.
Right.
On there have lost to only very good football teams, which makes it's 2 10-2 teams going against each other. And the unique thing for us, for Jackson, as we said this year, we throw the ball more than we ever have in the history of Jackson football. We are, having a special year throwing the ball. I think we've thrown 26 touchdown passes, 28 maybe total altogether now, which is far and away the most a Jackson team ever has. But those numbers are so minute compared to what Western Brown does. But the other side of things, we can run the football, and we will have some success, I think, running the football against this Western Brown. And probably our diversity is going to give us a great opportunity to beat this team.
And then also, if the elements are bad,
we were joking about the weather. I think every Jackson player and coach and everything, they wouldn't mind windy, rainy, any bad elements. I think they think we're a little tougher in the trenches than them, and if it becomes a knockdown, drag them out kind of fight, that football games can become, and I'm using that term not literally, but weather-wise, that could become our favor. And that's one of the factors that you always have to put into place as the season goes on. Winning in the early fall when the weather and the sun's shining and it's beautiful out, and you throw the ball all over the place and you catch it and you do all those kind of things, that gets a little tougher when it gets real cold.
Right.
Your hands are cold. You can't help it. The ball is harder. It's just a tougher game, and sometimes it's won a little bit more closer to the vest in the trenches there.
Yeah, we'll quantify it. Jackson averages 226 rushing yards per game and 160 passing yards per game. So you see the balance. You see the balance there. Well, let's talk about, because we're running out of time, the fact of where the game is going to be. It is 7 p.m. Friday. They're all going to be 7 p.m. Friday all the way through the regional finals at least. But Jackson will be playing at Waverly, and that surprised some folks. Some folks were thinking Chillicothe, Miami Trace, or whatever. And as it
we
turns
heard
out,
Miami Trace in the press box Friday night, but it did change. Waverly, better for us.
right, only 28 miles or whatever, down 32, and then turn on 220 or 23, and you're there. And of course, we're familiar with that field. Haven't played there for a number of years. But they have made improvements to the field.
Was where the high school was. Now
Right.
they have a brand new high school, but they still have a gymnasium there and the football field.
Yeah, the high school building is gone, but the gymnasium is there, and an improved football field is there. Western Brown will have to travel a little farther than the Ironmen.
Hint for our fans, we are the higher seed. We get the home side. The home side is great stands. It should be a very good seat for you to come down and watch that game, and this could be one of the more entertaining games in the whole state of Ohio. I wouldn't be shocked to see Spectrum try to be down there and maybe just to watch that game with Drew Novak on the field. That would be exciting. I haven't heard their schedule yet. They usually do broadcast, I think, 3 different high school games. It'd be exciting if we were one of them. Now, most of the time it's in one of the bigger cities, but that would be pretty neat. But this will be one of the fun games. There'll be a lot of eyes on this game. If you aren't there, a lot of people, a lot of football fans from all over are going to watch the results of this one.
And I think Jackson's excited for the so-called revenge factor. Also, we are probably a better team than we were earlier in the season. But
Yep,
to be
we are.
honest, even though Western Brown's schedule has not been as tough as the Ironmen's, I think they're probably a little bit better too. They're going to be ready for the Ironmen, excited to play them. They'll have the confidence of knowing that they will beat them. So it is just a great matchup. In the other bracket, the winner of this game will play the winner in the other bracket, which is Granville versus London.
Yes,
And
and both are very good, solid
Right,
football
Granville
teams.
is the top seed.
They're the top seed. London, I think, was 5th. on there,
Somewhere in there.
in that range, but they're very good. So
Right, they
that's pretty
defeated
exciting.
Columbus Bishop Hartley to be able to advance, surprise some people there.
Well, Hartley got knocked out this week. DeSales got knocked out this
Mm-hmm.
week. Two of the teams that a lot of people would say, "Wow, their success in the playoffs is always so strong."
From the Columbus Catholic League that are
Yes.
perennially tough outs in the playoffs,
yes.
and have even won the state tournament before. Well,
Get your tickets. You got to go online again.
Right, online.
But buy them. Get down there. Root this Jackson Ironmen football team on to just a victory that could be so fun. But the entertainment value of this game, just to watch us playing against this offense, will be so fun. Our defense has only gotten better, and their offense is one of the top in anywhere around it. It just sets up for really a fun
right,
matchup.
and the game within the game, both coaching staffs have the advantage of having played the opponent the first time around.
Yep.
And Coach Hall and his staff, veteran staff,
I'll put our staff up with anybody.
I'm sure that they'll make their adjustments. They know what they need to do. They know what Novak is, and he is what he is. He'll be tough to beat, but the Ironmen are going to
He's
be tough to beat
6'6",
too.
so he's a pretty big target back there.
Right.
We can get right after him. I know our defensive line has improved immensely, and they're going to put pressure on him. I'm sure they're all taking that challenge to heart.
Right. Well, I want to. Yes, go ahead, Dan.
Well, I was going to say we got a couple other things I want to mention. Do we
Okay.
have a few
Sure,
more
go
minutes?
ahead real quick.
Okay. Football, big Friday night, but actually, believe it or not, basketball is right around the corner. And if you're a college basketball fan, it's not around the corner, it's tomorrow night. College basketball opens up, and one of the big games up in the area will be Akron from Ohio. Akron, the Zips, come to Ohio State tomorrow night. It's a 6 o'clock tip-off. It's on ESPN2. OSU basketball fans, if you're out there, but Akron, there is a local connection there. The assistant coach there is Dustin Ford. He was a Jackson Ironmen head coach back when my son played. We had the luxury of getting to play 4 years under Coach Ford, but he is the assistant coach at Akron. They come to Ohio State tomorrow night, and at 6 o'clock, turn that one on. I've already got the DVR set. That will be fun. But then there's a doubleheader tomorrow night that kind of kicks off the college basketball season, and it takes 4 of what they call the Blue Bloods, the programs that are outstanding every year in college basketball. Kansas and Michigan State will open up, and I think that's a 7 o'clock tip-off on ESPN. And then Kentucky and Duke, I don't know if you've ever heard of those programs in basketball. They play the 9 o'clock game, so basketball fans, you're right back in there, and we're getting around the corner on that. But just down the road, Rio Grande basketball has already started, girls and guys, but Rio Grande has a big weekend coming up. It's the Bevo Francis tournament coming in. But the one of the games on the first night, it couldn't be more exciting, is Rio Grande taking on Shawnee State. And if you remember last year, Shawnee State won a national championship in the NAIA, a really outstanding program down there. But Rio Grande was very outstanding last year, and we have a local connection there in Caleb Wallace. Caleb Wallace got to play for my son at Jackson. We got to watch all his games, and that was one of the treats. One of the greatest Jackson Ironmen players ever. Easily said, just very special young man. Not big in stature, but big in heart, and worked himself. Couldn't have made himself into a much better player. He is injured right now, and I hate that. He's not able to go at it this weekend, but he will be a part of this team. Last year as a freshman, I think. Long story short, Caleb Wallace came to Rio Grande. They had a new coach who's doing a great job down there, but Caleb was this little guy. He's probably at the end of the bench, thinking an afterthought the previous coach had recruited him. It didn't take long before Caleb Wallace worked his way up through the middle of the bench to the top of the bench, and he became the starting point guard and was outstanding last year, played his heart out. They are so proud of him down there. We got to get him back healthy, but he is worth the price of admission himself to go watch in a Jackson graduate. They also have another Southeast Ohio boy, Shiloh Blevins. He came out of South Webster. He is one of their outstanding players, one of the outstanding players in Rio Grande's league. But they have that local connection. They have a very talented team, but they will take on Shawnee State Friday night in the Bevo Francis tip-off. Obviously, we are a little bit busy that night with Jackson football, but I do want to get a point. Last year with COVID, it was very hard to get into a Rio game. I got to see one, thank goodness, with the connections my head coach, my son had. We got to go down and watch Caleb. I think he got to go watch him twice, but it should be open enrollment now. Everybody can go watch Rio basketball. It's exciting, it's fun, and there's a lot of talent down at Rio Grande. But that's special. TJ May, another Jackson connection, is the head coach at Concord University. He was an assistant coach under Dustin Ford. Look at the talent of that staff. Pretty good, isn't it? Absolutely. He was the JV coach at that time frame. Well, he's now been the head coach at Concord University. They're getting started. One more shout out, a little promotion there. The basketball bash is this Friday. That is the Jackson Ironmen's basketball fundraiser. Coach Matt Walburn for the Iron Ladies, Coach Max Morrow for the Ironmen. They are not going to try to nickel and dime you all year long. If you'll support this basketball bash, it puts shoes on our kid. Every kid in the program is going to get basketball shoes. And if you're a parent, you certainly know how much basketball shoes cost nowadays. Outstandingly expensive. And our kids will have team shoes that way and other things that this bash, but it's a $75 ticket. They are not going to have a dinner. They normally have a dinner served at it, but because of regulations right now, they're not going to have a dinner at the school. It'll be online, but it's a $5,000 giveaway. Somebody's going to win $5,000, or maybe 3, 4, 5 people will share it. One or the other, but you have a great opportunity to get some money. But this is a tremendous fundraiser. If you would like a ticket to the basketball bash, you can contact Max Morrow, the head boys basketball coach. Contact Matt Walburn, the girls coach. You can contact Dan Folks, Matt Walburn, Dan Folks. They work together out there at Seward Folks. It's kind of a basketball hub as far as in the business world. But you could contact myself. I will find a way to get you a ticket. There's no question about it. We want so much participation on this, and it becomes a great fundraiser. And that kind of kicks off the basketball season, because it will be very shortly. The girls, Iron Ladies, will have their first game coming up, and the boys will start early in December, providing our football team doesn't continue to keep winning, which would be great if they do. The nicest thing is you can move basketball games back. We'll keep those football guys out there playing, and move some basketball games back, and we'll get them when they become after they're state champions, if that's as long as they want to keep winning. So, but basketball bash this Friday, chili cook-off the next Sunday, basketball bash is Sunday, the chili cook-off the next Sunday, and basketball around the corner, and as we said, wrestling also. So a lot of big things going on.
Right, absolutely. Well, Dan, I want to really thank you for coming in and spending a good part of your Monday morning with us.
Enjoy it.
Right, and we want to thank.
And Jennifer needs a day off once in a while.
She does. She does.
No question about it.
She does.
She works around the clock.
Very much earned.
Yes.
And
one shot, Rio Grande. rugby team won yesterday.
Oh my, that is something to see, isn't it?
Yes, and look, James has it up there right away. Rugby, it's a different animal that is a rugby player. When I was at Miami University, there was a rugby club, and I knew those guys. And you got to be tough to play rugby. It is a hard.
I don't understand why they play in shorts.
Oh my gosh! Well, the head coach for the Rio Grande rugby team was at Jackson's football game Friday night. Joel Wood had him there as a guest, and he was in shorts, and it was cold that night. Rugby guys are tough, and I'm sure the coach is as tough as these guys. But look at these pictures. I mean, this is a hard-fought game, but the rugby team came away with a 34-24 win. They defeated Franciscan, but to become the Allegheny Rugby Union champions, they now advance to the National Collegiate Rugby Regional Playoffs. That's going to be in St. Louis on November 20th. So a shout-out to the rugby team at Rio Grande. Shout out to their basketball teams who are starting up with the Bevo Francis tournament this weekend. But rugby, wow, they're tough.
Okay. All right. Well,
they're tougher than we are.
Right.
Yes.
A lot of news, a lot of sports going on. You heard a lot here on today's show. So I want to especially thank Dan Morrow for coming and being our guest today. I want to thank James Hamilton here behind the scenes, pulling it all together. And we will be back tomorrow with our Main Street TV show at 9 o'clock. Thank you, everybody.